Hi, welcome to Tyne Valley Motorhomes. I'm Callum and this is the handover video on the Adria Coral 670 SL Supreme. So first of all, if we come down the driver's side of the motorhome first, using your habitation key, which has got the Adria logo on there, you'll be able to open all your external locks, and the first service door you get to is your hookup compartment. So you can unlock this, release the door. To hook the vehicle up, whether you're charging it at home or you're on a site, it'll be the same principle. So you get your hookup lead, lift the cover off and expose the connections and hook it onto here. Once you've hooked the motorhome up, you can hook it to the post or to your home charging point and make the cable live. Never make the cable live unless the motorhome's hooked up, because what you'll be doing is you'll be walking around with a live lead, and we don't advise you do that. Then you want to put your lead, you want to lift one of these grommets up on the door frame and pop the lead through there so that you can shut the door and securely lock it with the hookup in place. Just at the back here you do have an external TV connection point, so this is for watching a telly underneath your awning if you're out in Europe and it's nice weather. You can connect. It is F connections, so it's like a satellite connection, but you can buy them ends. 12 volts, so it's a 20 amp 12 volt point, and 2 USBs there as well, and you do have some storage in here. Your step goes in and out via this switch here. You've got 2 fridge vents, an awning light and a Thule Omnister awning, finished in black. Again, using the habitation key, you'll be able to open this locker, which is your cassette loo locker. So this is your cassette locker. So when the cassette indicates it's full, which it will with a light on the toilet, you'll be able to lift it out, pull the cassette out, carry it or wheel it to the waste disposal point. This can be near your toilet block, and to empty, all you need to do is you'd remove the grey cap and expose the end like this. Pop the grey cap to the side for a moment. To empty, start to pour the content of the cassette out and press the button and allow a bit of air in, stops it glugging. And then you put some water in, give it a rinse, tip out again, and then use the cap, which is 120ml, as a measuring stick of blue or green chemical and pour the liquid in. Or you can do it by eye and put some liquid in there and then secure the cap. Once the cap's back on, you can push it back into the van and you can use the toilet. At the back of this model you do have a large garage. So you've got a large garage space here, which is heated via the Aldi heating. You've got tethering rails, so they'll move up and down the rails, 3 points on each side to tie your load down with your spare wheel on the back wall. Light switches, once the lights are on inside the van on the control panel, you'll be able to use the lights in the garage. Space for your 5th travelling backrest, so that's the frame for the seat there. Hookup lead. Shower point, so as long as the pump's on, and if you've had the hot water on, you'll get hot water. If you haven't, you'll just get cold. But what happens is this, so right shower end goes into here, and then you'll be able to hose the dog off, the kids, the boots, the bikes. That's in there. You've also got 12 amp 240 volt socket and loads of storage in the back garage. Coming around to the back of the van, you've got your high level brake light, reversing camera. Where the back panel has been strengthened to take a bike rack. So this is going to be for a Fiamma bike rack. So you can fit a bike rack to the van, and you've also got parking sensors on the bottom, so you've got 4 on the bottom, so camera and sensors on this model, so it gives you great clearance. This is your waste outlet point, so this is any water that you've put down the plug hole, whether that's the shower plug hole, the sink or the hand basin, goes into a holding tank, which is known as your waste tank. On the way out of your site, you want to drain this off. So on this model, there's a valve inside, there's a switch inside, which I'll get onto, which will allow you to open the valve and allow the water out. Please allow it out before you travel, because it's dirty water. Why drive around with the added weight? You're just going to impact your payload, meaning you can't put more of your personal belongings on board because you'll be overweight, and it'll make the engine use more fuel. So get rid of your dirty water, make sure that's drained off. Leave it open when travelling so that it rocks any loose water out, because it is just dirty water, it's not going to harm the environment. And make sure this is fully drained down in the winter, just so the water doesn't freeze, along with all your other water appliances, which we'll get onto inside the van. LPG, so this is your gas locker. So this motorhome runs off propane. Propane will not freeze in the colder temperatures, whereas butane will. I've got my test bottle on there now, so that's a 6 kilogram propane bottle. You'll get 2 of them in this locker. To connect the bottle, so from the regulator, which is here, which has a motion sensitive crash valve on, so if that yellow nib ever pops out, press and hold it for 10 seconds and you'll be able to reset it. This pipe here is known as the pigtail. So to connect it to the cylinder, it's left to tighten, right to loosen. Opposite ways with the being gas. It is just a thumb wheel, so it just needs tightening with your thumb as hard as you can get it, finger and thumb. Then you turn the bottle on from the top of the cylinder. 1 or 2 turns max. Don't turn it all the way, because if you ever have to isolate it quickly, you'll be on forever trying to turn the bottle off. Secure the bottle with the straps at the top and the bottom once you've put the bottle on, and turn it off before you start driving off your site or from home, so that the gas is safe for you and other road users. If one bottle did become empty, you just disconnect the pigtail and connect it to the reserve bottle. So it is good carrying 2 bottles. This is your flue for your Aldi heating system there, so you can see that it's on because you've got a bit of condensation on the side of the van. So just make sure that's always obstruction free. When operating on gas, that allows the gas fumes out. On electric, it doesn't matter, that's redundant. Water filling point, so again opens with the main habitation key. Carry yourself a hose pipe with some hose pipe connections, as it's mainly just a brass tap provided by the site. Pop the flat end of the hose into the van and wait until it overflows and there's water coming outside the van, or you look on board your control panel and you see how much water is on board at any one time. Should you not be able to get a hose to the van, you can bring a bucket of water, an aqua roll, or anything with water in. The space, this is a plug for a pump, so a wheel submersible pump. You get your power here, you put the other end in there, and you put the pump into the water, and it'll suck it into the main freshwater tank. So that's more for if you're wild camping and you can get water somewhere else, but you can't get it to the hose. At the passenger door, this is where you'll find the location to fill with diesel fuel, which opens with the main Fiat Ducato key. And underneath, because it's a new diesel engine, it does take AdBlue. And this is 19 litres on a Fiat Ducato. It does tell you on the dash when it needs it, and it also tells you on the dash how much AdBlue is in the tank at any one time on the new Series 8 Fiat Ducato, which this is on. When it's empty or it's when the warning comes up, go and buy it on the pump. It's far cheaper. It's about £1.20 a litre. If you want to carry a container, that's up to you, but you'll be paying about 20. I've seen them for £30 for 10 litres, which is an absolute rip-off, I think. So if you buy it on the pump, just look for where the wagon diesel filling points are, so that if it's a big station, it has a diesel hose for a wagon, it'll have AdBlue, because most new cars and wagons are running AdBlue now. Tyre pressures here, 5.5 bar, 79.5 psi, and the tyre size. We've also got this switch here. So this indicates that there's a switch just here. And what that does is, the switch opens the waste water. So the top is locked, the middle is open, but there's no strain on the valve. So if you want to travel or you want to leave it open in the winter, just leave it in the middle position of the switch, as it's a 3-way switch. And the bottom is open, and you'll hear it. You'll hear the motor open, and you'll see the water come out. But once you've drained it, just put it in the middle position, and it means you've opened it, but it's now got no strain on the electronic system valve, and it'll just allow any water out. So that's just here. Engine battery underneath the floor with it being a Ducato, so it's under there. That compartment does lift off and it exposes the battery. Bonnet releases here. So with the new Fiat Ducato, you've got no oil dipstick and you've got no power steering fluid header tank. It's electronic steering rack, but you do have a screen wash just above the driver's headlight. Lift the 3 tabs up and you can fill your coolant, followed by your brake fluid, oil filler here. And then if you ever need to jump start it, you'd earth off here, so this is an earthing point. And then by the air filter, there's a little box here. So lift that up, key in, screwdriver, whatever, something flat, lift that up. And that is your positive contact for giving or receiving a jump start. So in the garage, if you remove this cover here, it will reveal that you have a full toolkit there. So that's got a jack, a brace, tow knife, a screwdriver in there, everything that you need to change that wheel or be towed off a site if you're stuck on a grass pitch in the rain. So to operate your Aldi control panel, so to start the panel up, you need to press the on button and then you'll get the green light. This tells you the temperature scale, so you've got a plus and a minus, so you can adjust the temperature that you want the inside of the vehicle to be, and that is where it's saying 29 degrees. So we've selected 29 degrees to get the vehicle warm. Above, which is saying 17 degrees, is the temperature that it's currently reading inside of the vehicle at present. And then below here is the outside temperature. So where it's got the picture of the little tree there, 11 degrees, that's the outside air temperature. You always need to have it above the outside air temperature. So in the summer, if it's 20 degrees outside, select the heating to 22 or 23 degrees, and then that will give a little bit of a difference, but you probably won't be using it then anyway. Press menu. It tells you that the inside temperature is 17, outside's 11, like I've explained. The fan is on circulation, so it's currently on. It's connected to mains, which is in the top left hand corner, and you've got your time in the top right. Now which energy source you want to use, you'd press energy. It's telling you that it's currently selected on 2 kilowatts of mains electric. You can choose between not having it on electric, having it on 1 kilowatt, which is 750 watts, 2, which is about 1800 watts, and 3, which is 3000 watts. So that all depends on the amperage of your site, which depends what you use. But mainly on most sites throughout the UK, you would use 2 kilowatts. And then if you weren't hooked up, you can turn your gas on, which is just here, which you'd use if you were wild camping. However, in the winter when it's really cold, you might want to use electric and gas together for the first 20 minutes to bring the vehicle to temperature before turning the gas off. You can turn on high altitude mode, which is only for use at altitudes above 1000 meters. So if you are abroad or you go to Switzerland or anywhere like that, you can turn that on. It'll always prioritize electric, so when hooked up it'll always prioritize mains rather than gas. And the hot water, which is just here, you can turn off, on or boost. Boost is a 30-minute setting, so if I put that on there, it says 30 minutes left of boost, and it'll put all the power to the hot water for half an hour, and then what it'll do is it'll allow the heating to come back on, but it does turn the heating off to prioritize the hot water. So if you want it to run together, just put that to on. In the settings here, you can set day and night mode. Day and night mode are just modes that you can select the temperature. So if you click night mode, it tells you what day you want it to run, when you want it to start, when you want it to end, what temperature you want it inside, but you turn that on there. It also works the AC through here, so if the vehicle's fitted with aircon, which this particular vehicle is, you'll be able to use your air conditioning on a night. But you've got AC there as well to turn it on and off, but it does have a separate remote, as this one has been opted with an air conditioning. But if you're watching this and it's a generic video, just make sure that you either know that the vehicle's got air conditioning or it doesn't. And you can also set a day mode as well. So say on a night time you want it to be no warmer than 15 degrees inside the van, but during the day you want it to be 23 degrees inside the van. There's a difference, so you can set it so that it ends and it'll then cool down and it'll just maintain the temperature during the night for you. But that's between the night, it can be found in the menu, in the night and the day mode. So to operate the control panel, once you're on board the vehicle, around the outside of the panel, top and bottom, it tells you all your options. So I'll go through those first. So it tells you that the outside air temperature is 12 degrees. The inside of the vehicle is currently reading 13 degrees. Your on means hookup. Your awning light is on. You're charging the leisure battery, as it shows the battery at the back of the vehicle. So that's a leisure battery getting charged by mains to 30 volt. You've got 50% of fresh water in your main fresh tank, 0 waste, and your pump is on. Now to operate it, you just press the buttons around the outside. So you've got a master switch, which is your on and off main power button. This will turn on your 12 volt system. Obviously, if you are hooked up to mains 230 volt, you will get mains power to power mains appliances and use 3-pin plugs throughout the van. You've got your battery reading. So if you press there, you can scroll between the two batteries, so you can see that the carb battery is 12.6 volts and the leisure battery is 14.7 plus 3.67 amps coming in. That is because we're hooked up. Take the hookup out to get a true reading of your leisure batteries, because this is a false reading because the vehicle is on charge. Water, so 50% fresh, 0 waste. Put your back button there. Lights, so you've got this one here, which is your main master switch for your lights on board the vehicle. So you need to turn that on to then turn the switches on around the inside of the van. And this one being your awning light, which is a light on the outside of the motorhome. So if you're sitting under the canopy or you're going on a walk, you might want to put your light on so that if you're coming back, it's a bit dusk there, you can find your vehicle. Temperatures, 14 inside, 12 outside. Settings, so you do your time, your date through here, your screen brightness, your batteries and so on. So you can change what battery, but it's currently on an AGM battery. So if you change the batteries to lithium or anything, you need to change it there, but if you're not bothered, just leave it as it is. Here you've got your pump, so you've got your on-off switch for your pump. Make sure your pump's only on when you've got sufficient water on board. Without the pump, you don't want to burn the pump out with no water being on. Or if you're setting off from home, if you're able to hook the vehicle up, great. A few days before, hook the vehicle up. Not only does this allow your leisure battery to take a good charge, you can also put your fridge onto mains. Allow that to go down to temperature. Put your shopping in. Allow that to chill overnight if possible, and then when you come to drive away, if it's on automatic, it'll switch over the engine setting straight away. So start the vehicle, unhook the van, drive off. It'll act like a giant cool box when you're travelling. When you get to your site, hook back up, it'll switch over by itself. The only time it waits is if you have been travelling and you're not going on to mains, you're going on to gas. It waits 20 minutes before lighting on gas, and this is a safety feature in case you're filling with diesel. The last thing you want is it to spark around petrol. So to get over this 20-minute wait function, all you need to do is press a square button and manually select the source you want. So you go from, you've turned it off automatic, there's mains on its own, there's battery on its own, and there's gas. So there's gas, temperature, you can adjust that. So when pre-chilling, have it on 5. When you put your shopping in, just turn it down because sometimes it can freeze the food in the fridge. And there you've selected gas. But what I would do is just leave it on automatic, unless you are going wild camping where you just have to change it over. When not using it, turn it off. Open the fridge door. Allow this to be left open because it's got a rubber seal on there. It'll trap the air and it'll make it start to smell with the air trapped in there. So clean it out, flick the blue clip into the middle, and don't shut the door with any force. Just rest it upon the catch. And you'll be able to allow the air to circulate in and out without trapping air. So if you're storing it over the winter or just a couple of months when you're not using it, it just allows the air to circulate in and out. So to operate your Thetford fridge, the black button here with the blue light on, which means it's on, is your on-off button. So you just press and hold that, it would go off, press and hold, and it will come back on. But then to get the control panel to come on, you need to press it once. And then, or you can press the square button. This tells you what source it's on here, and this tells you the temperature of the fridge. So it's currently on A, which stands for automatic energy selection. Picture of a plugs it up there, which means it's on mains 230 volt. To change this, you press this button, but you don't need to change it because the beauty with automatic is it picks out the best source available to the motorhome at any one time, and it will always prioritize mains voltage. When it can't find mains and the gas is open, it will select gas and self-ignite. And when it can't find gas, as long as your engine's running, it sends a feed for when you're travelling of 12 volt from the alternator of the engine to the fridge, and it'll act as a giant cool box, but it's got to be pre-chilled beforehand. So if you've been to one site and you're driving to the next, it's been on, the shopping's in, great, it's down to temperature. It'll drive and just maintain that temperature until you get your next. Or to this side you do have your toilet, so your toilet door acts as your toilet door, or you can shut it off from the front of the van and utilise this space all in one. You do have doors here which slide along to shut the bedroom off the rest of the van as well. But in the toilet, making sure the pump's on, you'll be able to press the blue button. Pressing the blue button will give you a flush from your freshwater tank. So this is clean water. Flush it, put a small amount of water in, and then before you use it, open the blade, which is this grey handle on the pedestal of the bottom bowl of the toilet. Slide at the right. Everything goes into the cassette. You can now use the toilet. Once you've used the toilet, you can give it a good flush. If you've bought the pink liquid with the blue goes into the cassette, which I'll have explained from outside of the van. The pink doesn't go anywhere because it's a freshwater flush system. However, what you can do is you can put so much pink and so much water into a spray bottle, dilute it, spray the bowl, does the same job, just cleans the bowl, gives a nice smell, flush, and then always once you've flushed, and if you've put the pink in, it's up to you. If you've not, then just use water. Always close the grey lever, which is the blade. This will isolate the cassette. If this is left open and the cassette indicates that it's full, which it will with 3 green lights underneath the little picture of the cassette here, you won't get the cassette out the outside of the van because it's locked in. This has got to be shut to get the cassette out. Little handle there, and you do have some toiletry space. Throughout the van you do have these as well, which are similar to what's on the side of your radiators at home, bleeding points. So if you ever need to bleed the system, you can just open it and bleed the system so the pipe's full of coolant. Radiator at the back, that's warm there. push plug. That is your hot water system working there. As you can see, the steam coming off the water, that's really hot, so do be careful when using it. Mix the tap, don't put it fully on hot because you'll burn yourself. Bathroom lights, you've got one for the two on the mirror, and then the surround lights. Toiletry space, same skylight as in the shower that opens for ventilation with a blackout blind and a fly screen on. To one side you do have your shower, so you've got a hanging rail in the shower which works great for towels if you've had a shower, or even better if you put a couple of hangers on there, and if you've been caught out in the rain, let your coats drip dry, and then they're not going to wet anything because they're going to go straight down the drainage points. And you can let them dry in here without anywhere getting wet. Or if you're struggling for wardrobe space and you're going on a bigger trip, you can put your hangers on there and utilise this as a wardrobe when travelling, because a lot of people use site facility showers instead of their own, but it's entirely up to yourself. But always make sure that when you are winterising the van, you disconnect the shower head from the pipe, take the pipe off the shower head holder and lie it down with the mixer tap open, because you don't want any water to sit in here and potentially freeze. So make sure you lie that down and any water is given the chance to drain away. You'll be wondering where the lights are for the shower, and it's just behind here. So you can turn the light switch on and you've got space. In the back of the van there's a plastic tray, and you might think, what's it for? And it sits here. It's not fitted, it just sits here, and it means you can put your shampoo and things on top of the wheel arch well. And you do have a skylight which you push the button, pull the bar back to open, or you can click it into the little grooves to leave it open for a bit of ventilation in the summer once you've used the shower. But always make sure all your skylights and windows are closed before you start travelling. Blackout blind for on a night, and a fly screen for when you've got it open. So this is your freshwater tank. So if you turn your hatch in the floor over, it's got a sticker and it tells you how to drain your freshwater tank down. So it holds 120 litres, but if you turn it 3/4 of the way, it will drop everything but 20 litres. 20 litres is kind of like a travelling mode, so if you're going to a site, only tend to travel with 20 litres. It means that you can still use your own toilet, still stop and have a cup of tea, make some food if you want with some water, but it means that you're not heavy, so it means that you're using less diesel. You've got more space for your own bits and pieces and payload, and you're not going to be running overweight. However, if you turn it all away, it drains it to empty, which you'll want to do in the winter to avoid the water from freezing. So this little wheel is this valve here. So turn it all away, you'll hear the water drain out. Turn it clockwise till it can't turn anymore, to close it when you're ready to refill it. If you ever want to put any cleaner direct into the tank, you can here by just unscrewing it. This is your fresh water tank, and this here is just your probes, which gives you a reading on your control panel of how full your freshwater tank is. But it's very important in the winter you drain it down so the water can't freeze in the freshwater tank, or if you've taken on a source of contaminated water, you'd let all the water out. So in the kitchen you do have 3 gas burners, so ensuring your gas is on. You've got a built-in ignition there, and you've got all 3 lit. Once you've had them on, turn them off, allow them to cool before you put the glass lid down, otherwise you may shatter it with the heat. This is just showing that your hot water system is working, that's getting warm there, really hot. Pressurising as well, so there's a load of hot water in there. Sink cover, you've got your oven and grill, so ignition built in as well, so oven there, Above, you do have the grill. Above the oven is where you'll find the location of your safety gas shut-off valves. So these are gas isolation valves. 4 valves there, so oven, hob, fridge, heating and hot water system for your boiler. Any problems with gas, turn the bottle off to be safe. These are mainly for when the vehicle is annually habitation serviced. A HAB technician will test each gas appliance by closing one at a time and reading the gas levels. However, should you know what is leaking, you can isolate them by turning them off like this. So that's off, and then they're all on there now as well. Push the catches in and you'll be able to release it. You've got a cupboard underneath the oven. Storage drawers. Make sure the catch is pushed in before travel, just so that it's safe and it's locked in for when you're on the road. And above, push the catches in just in the centre there as a soft close, and they're on gas struts. You've got some storage. Making sure the lights are on. You've got your kitchen lights here, so you've got one light there which does the strip light in the lounge and the kitchen. This light here which does the back of the window surround. You've got an extractor fan when cooking, and you do have two 230-volt sockets there as well. So that is your kitchen on your Adria. This is your front lounge, so it consists of a half dinette on this model. So you've got 2 fixed travelling seats here, a 5th that makes up here, and obviously your front 2 cab seats turn around in the back, and you can adjust your table to where it needs to be, so you can all dine, whether you dine in the cab, just 2 of you, or if there's 5 of you in the van. So located just behind the passenger seat, before you go into the cab, in the motorhome floor, if you lift this compartment here, this is where your boiler drain is. So this here is a frost valve, and at 3 degrees it will open the valve and allow the water out when not in use. So it stops the water from freezing. There's a little blue button on this side here, just where my finger is, which will pop out and allow the 10 litres of water to drain out of the boiler. It's very important that in the winter, when not using it, you drain your motorhome down and protect it from frost. Because if we get a hard frost and the water freezes, unfortunately, the manufacturers won't be responsible for any damage caused, because it's not covered in the warranty. You as a consumer must drain your boilers down, and to do so you can do it one or 2 ways. You can let it drop, it's an automatic frost drain, or if you want to manually do it just to make sure it is opening, turn the diamond on the top, button pops out, and 10 litres of water will drain out of your boiler. This will drain your boiler down. You would then open your fresh tank, your waste, leave all your taps open throughout the van, remove your shower head from the shower hose, lie that in the shower tray, stop any water, and then when you come to reuse it and you want to put water in it, shut this, shut your tanks, so shut your fresh, shut all your taps, fill it with water, pump on. Cold side you get a pressurised flow of water, hot side it will take a while because you're filling the boiler, so it'll cough and splutter until you push all the air out of the boiler and you get a full boiler, and you'll get a pressurised flow of water from there. But to shut it, all you need to do is turn it here and push this one in. If the button wasn't staying in, it's probably because it's cold when you're using it. So what a little top tip here for you is, if you put the heating on with just the heating and not the hot water, there's pipes either side, this will get warm, and then after 20 minutes of having the heating on by itself, you'll be able to push the button in and select and pull it through. So pressurise the system up and then put your hot water on. But please remember to drain your boilers down, because they're expensive if you don't. So underneath your side facing bench seat, you do have your 2 30-volt trips, so if the vehicle trips out, try here before you try your main sight. And if you think you're not receiving power, best way to check is actually tripping the RCD. If the RCD trips, you've got power. If it doesn't trip, unfortunately, you're not receiving power. So check where you're getting where you're hooked up to. 2 AGM batteries. You've got your 2 batteries there. We always recommend that every 2 weeks that you put your vehicle on charge to protect your batteries. Even more so in the winter where the cold can damage your battery. So do keep an eye on your batteries in the winter. If you're lucky enough to keep it hooked up on the driveway, great. If not, if it's in a storage yard, either disconnect the batteries and take them home with you, and put them on a charger in the garage or at home. Or if you can, bring the vehicle home one weekend in every 2 to put on charge, great. Hook it up, charge them, and then take the vehicle back. But it's very important that you keep an eye on your batteries in the winter, otherwise you will be replacing them because it won't work as they did, because they'll lose performance. Here you do have your charging unit for your trips. So this is your 12-volt distribution board. All your 12-volt fuses are here, which are listed what they do, so it would be a good idea to carry some spares. These are the standard type fuses. You can get packs of them off Amazon, eBay quite cheaply now. For the sake of it, it would be worth just carrying a pack of assortment fuses in the vehicle, just in case one ever does blow. You can just replenish the fuse, and it's as easy as picking it out, checking the middle there, that one's intact. If it was blown, you would just replenish it with the same amperage fuse in and pop it back in. Main battery fuse, this is a 50 amp. You could carry a spare one of them if you want, but it's very rarely that the 50 amp blows. So to assemble your 5th travelling seat, you get your seat frame from in the garage. You locate it in the frame here, so you locate it, but then you need to squeeze the metal part, the silver part, and that'll put the frame into place there. And then you would put your base cushion on. And your backrest would then go on, and there's a lap belt, and there you have a backward facing 5th travelling seat. So to assemble the 5th travelling seat, which is a backward facing seat, you would get your seat frame from in the garage, locate the 2 lugs in the holes of the frame, and then squeeze the metal chrome clip which goes in there and secures the seat. The base cushion would then go back on. In the garage you can find a square cushion which is hard back. This is your backrest, goes there. And you'll also find in the wardrobe underneath the beds a headrest. So the headrest would go on as well, just into there. And there you've got a backward facing travelling seat with a lap belt. So behind the casing on the passenger side rear bed on this model, if you pull this off, this is where your expansion tank is for your Aldi glycol. So this is the antifreeze that runs around the Aldi system. So what you need to do is, you've got a min and a max here. It pressurizes the same as your engine coolant tank. Always run the system up before you ever think about topping it up, because you might think it's sitting between min and max when it's off. You might top it up, and before you know it might be well above max like it is now. Always make sure it's ran up, because it pressurizes and there'll be a lot more liquid in there than there needs to be. You've got 2 breather pipes there as well, but if you ever do need to top this up, go on to Aldi's website. There's about 6 different brands they recommend, including their own, and this has a 5-year lifespan. So every 5 years it is recommended by Adria and Aldi that this is drained, the whole system's drained, and new coolant is put in, because obviously over time with it heating up and cooling down and with use it will lose its antifreeze properties, so that's why every 5 years I do recommend for it to be replenished and changed. So the bedroom layout on this vehicle is 2 single beds. However, you can have the option of making it a double, so you would slide this compartment out and there's a base cushion which goes in here, which is stored in here at the moment, and that would go in there and create a double bed across the width of the vehicle, but it's entirely up to you. You do have the option. You've got storage in the steps, wardrobe door opens there and slides back so that you can gain access into the wardrobe space. Storage drawer here, another one there, so it's got quite a lot of storage on this vehicle, and you've got storage all along the top as well.